Hello and welcome to episode 53 of Into the Podcast. I'm your host, Sam, and I'm joined each and every week by the beautiful whiskey supping Ryan Chittenden. How are you, Ryan Chittenden?
Yeah, I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, all right, mate. This is take 3 because apparently I can't count. And at the beginning of every episode, I never get right what episode it is.
We've done 56 today and 311 or something.
Luckily, we have the live studio audience of your beautiful wife, Claire, who is here to pick us up on in our fucking stupid.
I know, we've only just started drinking as well.
I know, yeah.
So it's not going to bode well.
It's not, is it? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I'm all recovered from my bout of COVID.
You was a poorly boy, weren't you?
Yeah, well, you were poorly, and
Yeah.
then we did the Poorly Sam episode, and then I think a week later I caught whatever you had, which ended up being COVID.
Which ended up being COVID, yeah.
3 days before Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need to stop kissing.
I know,
think that's what it is.
We just feel so nice.
Yeah, I know. But what is nice is that when I get poorly, I get two episodes
Two
dedicated
episodes
to
we've
it.
had so far.
You get fuck all.
Yeah.
Stop whinging about it just because I made you miss Christmas this year.
Literally all my plans ruined.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan. Sorry, Claire.
No mind.
Sorry.
It's all right. We're here now.
We're here now. We're recording. So your illness, unfortunately, meant that we missed an episode last week.
Yep.
Which is fine because it's Christmas period. People probably wouldn't listen on Christmas Day anyway.
It was due to come out on Christmas Day. Let's face it, no one's listening to that, are they?
No, exactly. So we did have some banging plans to get pretty pissed and do our year episode and just kind of blast this one out as well. But we missed that, so we're getting together tonight around Ryan's new dining room table again.
Yeah.
And we're going to get absolutely smashed off our tits, record this and the Christmas episode.
Our year-long special.
Yeah, which is weird because we're doing the New Year's episode before the
so we're
Christmas
doing episode 53 before 52, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly. So
it's going to get very confusing.
It's going to get very confusing, and we're going to be absolutely arseholed by then.
Yeah.
We'll be referring to jokes in this one in the last week's.
It's already frying my head a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah. So this is our New Year episode. This will come out on New Year's Day. Is that right? Next is Monday New Year's Day?
Monday's New Year's Day.
Oh, no, it won't. That's when the Christmas episode's coming out.
Yeah,
already
originally
confused.
it was supposed to come out on New Year's Day.
That's right.
This episode is a reflection, isn't it? It's our 2023 Wrapped, where we're going to see how we did. Our challenge was, for those that haven't listened all year, was to try and watch 52 new films, not brand new films that have just come out, but 52 films that we'd never seen before, and see how we've been doing throughout the year, and see how some of our listeners have done as well, because they've been following along with us, taking on this challenge as well. So
Yeah.
we'll give updates now at the end of the year.
Yeah, and you'd think if I was good and thought, probably would have texted these people and got the numbers.
Yeah,
and,
all right.
and asked them how they
We
did.
could have put a post out on all our socials, but we're not that. It's Christmas.
It's been Christmas. We've been having fun.
People
I've had
are-
a child. I've been pissed.
Yeah, that's it. People are busy.
Been eating pigs in blankets and whatnot.
Yeah, I've been hibernating with COVID.
Yeah, you have. So tough shit. You're going to hear what films we've done instead.
Yeah.
So if we start this episode off then, this beautiful New Year episode, by just sort of discussing what films we've watched recently, because I have done so many good films. I think the majority of my top films that we're going to discuss in this episode have been this last week.
Really?
Well,
Okay, that's interesting.
The rest of the year was the majority horror.
Yeah,
Shit
I have
horror.
watched a lot of horror this year. It has been in a lot of ways the year of horror, but we'll come on to that. Go on
Yeah.
then. So what films have you watched recently that we've not discussed? Because I feel like we haven't talked for a while.
No, we haven't actually. I think, so the last film that I probably mentioned that's on this list was Slaughterhouse, which I decided
Yes.
not to go into because that would have followed Titanic, and I was too busy nearly crying. So since that, big ones that I've watched Leave the World Behind, which I know you've watched and we can discuss.
What we finished watching that last night, yeah, and
Yep.
that's a hot topic of conversation at the moment, isn't it?
Absolutely. I've watched Rebel Moon Part 1, which
Ooh,
is
interesting.
Netflix's most expensive film.
I really want to watch that.
I'll discuss that in a minute as well. Watch Saltburn, which Claire wants to get drunk and watch later.
Yeah, again, another one we want to see at the cinema, but we missed, but luckily it came out onto Prime instantly.
Yeah.
So that is on our watch list, because again, that's another film that everyone's talking about at the moment.
Absolutely. Villains, which we'll go into. I'm just going to miss the shit ones out of it. I finally got round to watching Barbie, which was
Amazing.
incredible.
So good.
Maestro and Babylon.
Some
so-
big films in there then. Quite a lot of Yeah.
Yeah, so do you want to discuss the ones that I know you've seen? Well, Leave the World Behind, I think. Well, that and Barbie, I know, are the two that you've seen.
Sure. Let's do
so
it.
do you want to go on to Leave the World Behind then?
Yeah. Yeah, because everyone's talking about this. So going into this film, I mean, we first discovered this because we watched the Graham Norton show and Julia Roberts was on there and she discussed it. And there was a clip on there and it's just her and Mahershala Ali. I'm terrible at saying his name.
Mahershala, isn't it?
Yeah. And Julia Roberts' character just discussing. It's all tense. You don't know what's going on. And then I've just seen on like the internet, there's been an outcry of people that hate the ending. Oh, the ending's so shit, blah, blah, blah. So we went into this film with an open mind, not knowing what to expect and knowing the ending was going to be controversial.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, it's a film with an insane cast.
Ridiculous cast.
It's obviously got Julia Roberts, Mahershala Ali, Ethan Hawke. You know, these are all Oscar-winning actors and actresses or nominated. And, you know, I think you talked about it a couple episodes ago on the podcast where, like, you know, the concept of the film, it's a family rent out this house in the middle of nowhere out of the city for a weekend away. And then the owners of the house turn up in the middle of the night and say there's been a, blackout in the city, you got scared, they want to come back, and it's all very vague and you're not sure who to trust and they're distrustful of each other, and that's kind of the whole film. That everyone's just trying to figure each other out, aren't they? They don't know what's going on, and in a lot of ways not a lot happens. It's just basically centered in this house and it totally relies on the cast.
It keeps the anxiety high the whole way through.
I was found out myself on the edge of my seat, and really, that's just credit to all the actors and actresses in this because not a great deal happens. There's no real action. There's no real you didn't know where this film was going to go. Is it going to turn into like a slasher film? Is it, we were guessing constantly, is it aliens have invaded? Is it like terrorist attack? Are these people who they say they are? Do they actually own the house? Like, have they assumed someone else's identity? We were literally constantly guessing throughout this film. We couldn't figure out what was going on. So I really liked it. And to say it was a 2.5 hour film, it didn't feel like that. I mean, it felt a little bit for us because we kept stopping starting to make cheese on toast, but that was an us issue.
Banging thing to stop for, if you ask me.
So
how many bits of cheese and toast did you have during? 3? What, 3 slices or 3 rounds?
3 slices, yeah. I alternated with patty on toast.
Legends.
Yeah.
That's fucking, what a way of watching that film.
Oh, no, yeah. But it did make the film like a 3.5 hour long film. But we'll come on to the end in a second. But what did you think of the film?
Yeah, so I knew absolutely nothing about this film going into it. I only watched it solely because I've watched a lot of shit horror this year. So it was more just start watching something good. It's got Mahershala Ali in it, who I absolutely adore. So we'll give it a go. And I have this really weird... Oh, I saw Kevin Bacon was in it as well. And I was like,
Legend.
fuck yeah.
Yeah.
So, I knew absolutely nothing. It could have been a romance film for all I know. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like you say, the anxiety, the tension was high the whole way through it. I was adamant for the longest time that George, bloody GW, whatever he calls himself the whole way through it, Mahershala.
GH Scott.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. I was adamant that he was up to no good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's it. Because they're all a little bit shady. You're not sure who to trust. It's all. Kept me guessing throughout.
Yeah, and I do think there was enough scenes in it to keep you going. So obviously the whole time through it, there's stuff going on with deer. There's the scene where that plane drops all the leaflets. Like, there's some scenes that you're like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, a few scenes of that.
So it's pretty crazy.
And I mean, one of the scenes, which is a literal scene from my nightmares.
Which one?
The bit where one of the characters wakes up and
teeth.
Has the issue with his teeth.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I've had that nightmare.
Oh, I have 1,000 times.
Oh my God. That was awful.
Yeah, it was pretty sick, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So there is enough to keep you going. So although, like Ryan says, there's not a lot going on, there isn't really, but it just keeps to this amazing storyline really well. let's go on to the ending, because this is the thing that everyone has the issue with.
Everyone's kicking off about the ending. Loads of people, all the comments I've seen on this and reviews for it, it's loads of people saying, oh, the film's shit, the ending's terrible, or like, oh, I was on the edge of my seat until the ending and it's just shit. And then loads of other people commented saying, this is a great film, and if you didn't get the ending, you're just an idiot. And the usual internet hatred and battles back and forth.
And I have mentioned this. I mentioned this when I spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, that it was just idiots that finished the film and immediately went moaning.
Yeah.
That didn't take 2 seconds to just stop and think. I mean, you and me had a chat last night, Claire, didn't we? Where we was kind of back and forth. What did we think it meant? And that's what I love about films like that. That when it does just
it creates a talking point, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah, and I like that. So regardless of whether you like this film or not, everyone's talking about it.
Exactly.
And so they've done well in that sense. I really like the ending.
Oh, I did.
I really liked it because I think it was a refreshing ending, because I didn't know what to expect from it, because obviously, like I said, everyone's kicking off and I knew it was going to be a controversial ending. But I think it's only controversial because it's not a conventional ending. It just kind of ends. But you've already 2.5 hours into a storyline.
Yeah.
And so like what? I don't know. It's like, and it's I'm trying to talk about it without giving it away, but like this film is almost the beginning of a story.
Yeah.
And beginning of something. So, you know, it'd be like watching episode 1 of The Walking Dead or something like that, and then going, and then it finishes, and then everyone kicks off. It's like, well, where's the rest?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like, well, there's more to come. I'm not saying they're going to make it, because they don't need to make it.
No, they don't, no.
And I had to know, I just don't get what people's issue is.
I think for this film as well, this film is, in air quotes, there's so many what the fuck moments in this film. And the biggest what the fuck moment is the ending.
Yeah.
And to me, that's what I like, because you have this moment of what is going on, and oh my God, let's just take that moment.
Yeah.
You know, so when, what's the bloody film called? Us. Have you seen Us?
No, not
the
yet.
Jordan Peele one.
No.
So I remember going to see that, and when it ended, the last that I went to go see it with said, "Oh, what did you think of it?" And my answer was, "Give me 2 minutes. Let me digest what just happened.
Let me think about
Let me think about that." Because that was, I won't say it's a confusing film, but there was that much that went on that it was a bit of a head fuck. That it was just, give me 2 minutes, and then that was it. I took that 5 minutes to sort of think about what just happened, and that's where kind of my enlightenment came from that film. I love it.
Yeah.
Because I took that moment to stop and think, what did this mean? What did that mean? And just people don't do that. And you get a lot of people that jump online thinking they're film critics.
Oh, God, I know.
That can't take 2 minutes to use that can't engage their brain.
And
everyone needs answers to everything.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Everybody wants everything dumbing down and making, you know, spelled out for them. It's like, well, no. Let's have a bit of complexity, or a little bit of, let's get people thinking, rather than everyone wants like instant results, don't they? Like bloody social media. You want like,
that's it.
You want everything now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed the film, and maybe I enjoyed the ending because I knew I was going into it was going to be controversial, and maybe I just want to be against everyone else because, you know,
I mean, I
fuck the
loved it,
haters.
and I didn't know that. But then saying that, I mean, I don't know if I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but Bird Box, I love Bird Box. And when that came out, there was a lot of hatred towards that film because the ending, saying how the ending was so much worse than the book and blah, blah, blah. He got a lot of heat for that. So I'm not a reader, as you know. So I went away and bought the book and read the book.
Yep.
Just to see, oh my God, it ending's that much better. I love the film. So, but really, I mean, the ending of Bird Box, they find a sanctuary for blind people.
Yeah.
So basically, obviously, they can't look at the monsters. Whereas in the book, it's the exact same. It's just they make people blind themselves to go in there.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more graphic, but you're not going to put that in a Hollywood film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's this tiny little mark that actually so much of the world went against that film because of this tiny little change that really you wouldn't put in a Hollywood film.
Yeah.
And it's just people moaning for the sake of moaning in my eyes.
No,
and
I
think that's what we've had a lot of here as well.
Yeah, I totally agree.
But all in all, massive thumbs up for this film.
I
If you've
really
not seen
enjoyed it,
watch
and I think definitely watch it. It's a different film. It keeps you guessing, and superb cast. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, nice.
So I want to talk about Barbie next.
Go for it.
You have discussed this film, and I finally got around to watching it. So on Christmas Eve, I got it for me and my little, and I didn't really know how it would go because I obviously understand the undertone of what this film is, and she's only 6. So I was like, well, let's just see. Oh my God, I have not had that much fun watching a film in years.
Yeah.
She loved it because
Yeah.
it's bright, it's colourful, it's fun, the way they talk, the way they dress. It's got everything for everybody.
Absolutely.
So my 6-year-old laughed away through every part of it.
Yeah.
I was pissing myself because there's such great like comedy for,
it's
for
so good.
adults
Yeah.
as well. It's nigh on a perfect film.
I love it. Yeah, it was so good. We loved it when we went to see it, and it was a packed cinema because obviously it had huge hype when it was the whole Barbenheimer thing, and it was just enjoyment, isn't it? It's just pure enjoyment in a film. It's just, I don't know, what more could you want from it? Just pure entertainment, pure like easygoing, fun.
Great cast.
Oh yeah, unbelievable cast, and they all do such a fantastic job.
Alan's the boy.
Alan, yeah,
Alan
he's
is
good.
the boy.
Yeah, he's good.
Film.
I mean, they're all great. They're all great. I'm a massive Ryan Gosling fan anyway. Yeah. So, and him in this, to see him take the piss out of himself in that way.
Oh yeah,
he was so good. But yeah, I really want to rewatch it because I've not seen it since.
Yeah.
We went to see it in the cinema, and that must have come out back in middle of the year, like June, July time, was it perhaps?
I think you're right. The rewatchability on this film is massive.
Yeah.
I will watch this film for years to come.
Yeah. And
it's fun. Me and Littleton can watch it together. I can watch it on my own.
Yeah.
I mean, I was saying before we recorded, my favorite part of this film is there's a scene where Barbie, Margot Robbie she's saying she's not perfect anymore and she's not beautiful, and the screen kind of pauses, and Helen Mirren, isn't it?
It is Helen Mirren,
who does the narrative. The film pauses, and Helen Mirren just goes, "Yeah, we probably shouldn't have cast Margot Robbie to make this point."
Yeah,
I just think it's so good.
It breaks the fourth wall.
They take the piss out themselves. Like, we've got a non-perfect looking woman here moaning that she's not perfect, and oh my God, I was laughing the whole way through it.
And, me too.
They just played their part. So, because I remember when I first saw the still of this of Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie in rollerblades, and I just shook my head like, what the fuck is this? Expecting a Disney Channel type film.
Yeah.
And no. Perfect, funny, just uplifting. Everything about it was fantastic.
It was.
So if you haven't seen Barbie, one of the films of the year in my eyes.
I totally agree. I really agree. And it'll be interesting to see, because soon we'll be coming into award season, and some of the acting is incredible, as Claire's just pointed out to me. The directing was incredible. It'd be interesting to see if Barbie gets any nods for the award season. I know it's been nominated for a lot of Golden Globes, because I think the Golden Globes tends to kick off award season, because I think we talked about it, didn't we? I think it's in January. So yeah, it'd be interesting, because a lot of that, they deserve it. Yeah. Fantastic.
I'm gonna save Saltburn. I'd like to talk about that in another episode, because you two.
If we've seen it, because we will watch that soon.
And also Babylon, I'm going to talk about a lot, but I might save that for when we're doing our favourite films of the year, because it was up there. But I will just quickly chat. I watched a film called Maestro today, which is the Bradley Cooper directed and starring film. It's him playing Leonard Bernstein, and if you don't know who Leonard Bernstein is, he's like America's top conductor. It's not about his life and his music, which I think a lot of people's problem is. So I think it got like 7.1 maybe on IMDb.
Okay.
So people didn't go mad for this film.
I know there was a controversy with this film. The only controversy that I'd seen before I'd heard anything else, I just saw it was it was just on like social media, and it was people kicking off saying that it's racist because they've made Bradley Cooper look stereotypically overly Jewish. They've put a big massive prosthetic nose on him, and I've seen it compared to the actual, I can't remember what you just said his name was,
Leonard Bernstein,
that compared to him, who doesn't have a very big nose. So a lot of people straight away before his film was kicking out were going, well, you're just being racist, because you're just playing to racial stereotypes. So that's the only thing I'd heard about this film.
You see, I'd not even seen that. I'd never seen this film. I'd never even heard of it until I was flicking through Netflix, and I went, fucking Bradley Cooper.
Mm.
And you know, at the bottom on the tags, it'll be like thriller, comedy, whatever, and it'll get. This one was like, I think it was like romance, biography, and then LGB, like,
Yeah.
and I was like, oh, okay. So I know nothing about Leonard Bernstein personally.
No, me
I knew
neither.
who he was. I knew about his music and stuff, but that's all I knew. So it's kind of, the film is basically the story of his relationships. So his wife, and then his relationship with his wife, but also his relationship with sort of like younger men, and him still kind of being closeted gay, but his wife knew about it, and kind of that battle between in the relationship, and all this going on. And at the same time, his wife was a big Broadway actress.
Yeah.
He's like the biggest conductor in the world. So both of their careers are massive at the time. Very interesting. Don't get me wrong, you're not going to watch this film and expect to see bloody any action scenes or anything like that. It starts in black and white, and it kind of, as it goes on, it kind of moves into color as his life goes on. I just thought it was acted brilliantly.
Yeah.
It was produced by both Scorsese and Spielberg.
Which is crazy.
Madness.
I mean, you're never going to get bigger producers than that, are you?
Oh, absolutely not. I think this film is worth a watch.
Yeah.
I genuinely do. Like I say, it's a biography, so you're not going to get a lot, and it's not really about his music. It's about his relationships. And you know
interesting,
what?
yeah.
Fair enough. I see why people will moan about that if they was missold, if they thought it was going to be about Bernstein's music. But I didn't go in looking for that. I knew kind of what it was about, because that's what it said on the tin.
And you know, Bradley Cooper, he's a fantastic actor. And
I love him.
And he's a great director as well. He's directed a lot of great films as well. So
Did he direct American Sniper?
I think he did. Yeah, he did. Yeah. So you know, you got quality behind it. So you know, it's not going to be shit.
Absolutely. So that's another one that I will recommend, because I do, as I said to you, you see this time of year films with Oscars written all over it. And I think this is one that has Oscar written all over it. I do think it's definitely going to see a nod in some of the award ceremonies.
Yeah. I just wonder if it's flown too far under the radar.
Well, yeah, I'd never even heard of it.
To not pick up, because we're all, like I said, we're already, Golden Globes have already been nominated. Maybe this film came out too late for them.
Yeah. Because it's only just come out.
He's had not that I'm aware of. I don't know the Golden Globe nominations off the top of my head, but he might be in there, but I don't know.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
So for me, because there's a couple more I want to talk about, but I'll do that later on when we're talking about best and worst. What about you, Ryan? What have you watched sort of recently?
Well, we've had a couple of cinema trips recently, which has been nice, because it's the first time we've been to cinema for ages, because obviously we have our unlimited cards, but we've been really neglecting them. So we've tried to see some of the big ones that are in the cinema. Probably the biggest one currently, we went to see Wonka.
Oh, yeah. How is it?
You know what? Again, going into it, I'd heard kind of mixed things. Some people had said they really liked it. Someone at work had said that their daughter had gone to see it and absolutely hated it, to the point where they wanted to walk out.
Oh God!
I was like, wow, that's a strong reaction from something like this. I didn't think it'd be that controversial. So I went in with a very much open mind, really not knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
But I absolutely loved it. It was everything you'd expect, from that sort of film. It's a family-friendly musical. It gave me throwback vibes to your Mary Poppinses and that sort of thing, where it's a little bit magical and fun and heartfelt at times. And at the end, I found myself even welling up a little bit, because it was quite an emotional,
Yeah.
And it's just fun. And
what's the story?
Yeah, wholesome. That's the word that I'm looking for. It's the story is, so it's a prequel, and I think that's perhaps what thrown a lot of people off, because I think some people are gone in thinking, oh, it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah,
but it's not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory at all. It's basically a prequel to the Gene Wilder Willy Wonka film, and so it's all about how Willy Wonka got set up. So he's a nobody to start with. He literally steps off the boat and he's like, I'm going to make it as a chocolate maker, and I'm going to get a factory and I'm going to make it. And it's him trying to break into this world of chocolate. And he's in the most prestigious chocolate making city. And everyone's corrupt and the police are corrupt and they're in the pockets of like the chocolate makers and it's all silly, and he's got to go fight against all the odds, and it's all about him never giving up on his dreams and all the like the sort of cheesy but lovely and like wholesome moments where it's all those right messages,
of course,
believing in yourself and having the right people around you and friends and fighting for what you believe in. So it ticks all those boxes. Some nice musical moments. The scene, something like the stage, the set pieces are fantastic. It's just the guy who his name escapes me off the top of my head, but he did the Paddington films.
Oh yeah, oh god,
so
love them films.
So a director who's big in that field, knows what he's doing, and to create those sort of magical,
family-friendly,
magical film,
yeah.
And so I loved it. So I do not get what any hatred from it is coming from. I really, really don't get it. So it absolutely baffles me that people wanted to walk out. Like, what are you expecting? Like, I just literally blows my mind. Absolutely insane.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, a lovely film, definitely worth a watch. Again, something that you could easily re-watch time and time again. I would, in a lot of ways, probably say like an instant family classic.
Yeah. And I find it really weird because obviously Timothy Chalamet playing Willy Wonka, but I am playing a lot of COD with you at the minute, and my Timothy Chalamet is watching him run around in spandex shooting zombies at the minute.
Yeah.
You own the skin on COD, so I just
do,
see Timothy Chalamet running around shooting zombies.
From June, running around killing zombies.
So I can't really see him as Willy Wonka right now.
I know, yeah. And I think they handle it quite nicely because I've seen interviews even with Timothy Chalamet where he says, even he says, I'm always wary when they recast a classical actor or character.
Oh yeah.
But because it's a prequel, they very much get away with that. He's not just trying to. He's got some of the mannerisms of Gene Wilder, but he's not trying to be Gene Wilder.
Yeah.
And there's enough of a gap in time where you think, well, that's fine. There's a because Gene Wilder was middle-aged man, in Willy Wonka. So
he has plenty of time to get fucked up.
Yeah, plenty of time to build a fucking weird ass riverboat down a chocolate river. But yeah, it's just good. Like great cast, lots of recognizable faces.
Yeah.
Claire was just mouthing to me there about Hugh Grant being an Oompa Loompa, who's someone that likes to take the mick out of himself these days and is prepared to be the silly and stupid role. So yeah, it's really good, really worth a watch. I know a few people have gone to see it since and have loved it. So I feel like that'll be like the big blockbuster one. I know Timothy Chalamet's, he's had a nomination for Best Actor in a Musical or comedy for Wonka. So maybe another one for the potential award season. I can't see him getting as far as Oscars, but good. Yeah, we'll nice. Cool. And the only other one we went to see a bit of a random choice. We went to see Godzilla -1.
I did think this was random when you told me you was going to see it.
Yeah, see, like, a lot of people don't know this because there's a whole Godzilla franchise at them out in the moment, isn't there? There's been loads of them. We've watched them all this year. So there was like Godzilla, then it was like Godzilla King of the Monsters, and Godzilla versus Kong, and there's another one coming out next year, Godzilla X, and they're all like the Hollywood blockbusters. But this one, Godzilla -1, is a Japanese film.
Okay.
So it's all in Japanese, it's all subtitled, and it's like a throwback to the original Godzilla,
really?
sorry.
Wow.
And it's set in just after World War II, so it's post-war Tokyo, so it's like a very like dark and depressing time, because obviously Japan lost the war, they've had the nuclear, the bombs go off and stuff, and at the heart of this film, what I'm just going to say straight away, this film is incredible.
Oh, really?
It is sensational. Okay. I absolutely loved it. It was such a welcome change to say, like I said, we've watched all those Godzilla films this year. I've never watched any Japanese Godzilla films, granted, but it had everything. Godzilla, for one, terrifying. And I
Yeah.
think that's what none of the other Godzilla films I've seen have done. He's just this big CGI monster. He just smashes a whole city or whatever. But also in the Hollywood versions, it's like, oh, he's not the bad guy. He's like an anti-hero. He doesn't mean to destroy our cities. Oh, he's actually our protector that's going to stop us from all these other scary monsters. He's just misunderstood. Now, in this, Godzilla is coming to fuck up your life.
Yeah.
And it's all about what Godzilla represents, I think. He's like, because it's the original Godzilla came out in like 1952, I think, or 53, maybe 54, something like that. So only, not long after the end of World War II. So it's all about, he's like a representation of the fear of nuclear war and bombs just going off, because he is the equivalent power. He's got his nuclear heat ray that he can just destroy a whole city with.
Yeah.
And the Japanese people are living in constant fear of that. So that was really cool. But what makes this film work is you actually care about the characters. It's very much a human story, isn't it? So the main character is a Japanese fighter pilot who's a kamikaze pilot, and it starts, the opening scene is him lands on an island during the war, and he's like, there's something wrong with my plane. Can you have it checked out? And they check it out. It's like, there's nothing wrong with your plane. Turns out he basically didn't want to die. He didn't want to commit suicide.
Yeah.
But then before anything happens, like Godzilla attacks and, destroys it. So the film's all about him trying to deal with like PTSD and survivor's guilt, and like his family were killed in the bombings, and like people are blaming him and calling him a coward, and people literally one of the early scenes, it's like his old neighbor comes up to him and says, it's because of people like you why we lost the war. And it's like, fucking hell, it deals with all real serious themes of like nationalism and the futility of war. You could get rid of Godzilla. Just, he don't need to be about it. You've got this whole story and you're like, fuck, this is deep and dark, and them trying to build, like these survivors trying to build up their lives following the war. But then you just throw in Godzilla, who's this terrifying beast that can turn up, and there's really heroic scenes in it. The music's amazing. And I love the way that Godzilla looks. Like, they've made him intentionally look like, because the original Godzilla was a man in a suit.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So he looks like he's a man in a suit, but like a modern CGI version. So he looks great. And some of the best scenes, it's like, they don't need to be big, over-the-top CGI. One of my favorite scenes is they're in a boat, like a small boat, because one of their jobs is they have to clean up the landmines that have been left in the sea after the war. And then Godzilla's after them, and you can see his scales coming out the water, and he's just swimming towards them, and they're fucking full throttle trying to get away from him. And then his head just pokes up above the water level, and his eyes are just staring at him, and you're just like, fucking drive quicker. Like, oh my God. Like, and it's just simple, but it creates tension.
Yeah,
and it's
of
like,
course, yeah.
It's believable. Like, I think that's what, with a lot of those films, the scale it's too big. You're not feeling for anyone. It's almost like lost. So what a great film. I would definitely recommend it. Easily the best Godzilla film, maybe the best monster film I've ever seen. It was fantastic. Yeah, really, really, really good. Definitely big recommend. And that was really nice to see, because it's nice to see that it got like a big cinema release, because especially a foreign film. We managed to see it at our local cinema, in the town, which is a tiny cinema. Mm-hmm. And there's still a couple of showings of that every day.
Oh, brilliant.
So that's really nice to see, because, and I think that's been going on its merit, because it's been critically acclaimed. I think it's currently got something like 8.4 on IMDb.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's currently like the top 250 films of all time.
Jesus.
It's that well thought of.
Yeah.
Obviously, that'll go down over time. They always do, but that's the standard it's at. So big recommendation there. Amazing. Definitely go see that.
What I absolutely love is, like, listening to this podcast, people, will always expect me to go, oh, I've watched a horror film, but people are now expecting you to go, yeah, I've watched this film that's post-war Tokyo.
I know. Yeah.
Most films you've watched recently are post-war
Well,
Tokyo.
when we actually get into our like 2023 Wrapped, we'll see just how many Japanese films I watched this year. It's a lot. You bring the horror, I bring the Japanese films.
Cool. Is there any more that you want to go through before we have a snicky snack?
You know what? I'm very snackish. I think we've talked a lot.
Cool. Well, it's about good timing and we're half hour in, so let's get old Drewbo over for a little sing-song.
Yeah.
We'll have a little snack.
Lovely.
Drew, sing us in, baby.
Here come Sam and Ryan, listen to them both speak. They've come 2 hours on with their pop culture critique. But are you even a nerd if you don't overread? So come on everybody, it's the snack of the week.
Thank you, Drew, you handsome, handsome man. I miss him.
Yeah, I've
So
not seen him
much.
for a long time.
I know.
I might have had a chance to see him the other day, but I had COVID.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Ryan,
Yeah.
stop getting COVID from me.
Cough. See, I cough.
Look at you. Well, I'm fucked now, aren't
Yeah.
I? Right, let's talk about this snack situation because we are swimming.
We are drowning in,
In
snacks
snacks.
currently.
That doesn't mean don't send them in.
Oh, no. It's nice. But just maybe send us stuff in that doesn't have an immediate expiration date.
Yes, because people are pulling through, aren't they?
Oh, really? Like big time.
So last week we got some from my brother.
Yes.
We've not done that episode yet, but we're doing that one in a minute.
Yeah. That was good. That was really
So I
good.
did
Well
that.
remembered.
That was
Yeah, that was good.
Um,
Like seamless. No one will ever know.
No one will ever know until I point out. So talk us through, because you've been handed a lot recently. So talk us through what's going on here.
I have. So I've been given a lot from lots, like loads of people have just been handing us multiple snacks as well.
Yeah.
I mean, my sister, bless her, has done us a lovely Christmas special in a sort of hamper style, and she's returned us our mystery box that she won when we
Amazing.
did the giveaway, and has just filled it with snacks for us.
What a babe.
I know.
Still
so,
not make your sister, because
that
I
seems
was
crazy.
ill last time.
Yeah, it'll happen one day.
It'll happen
one day.
soon, Jess.
I mean, she just still sends us stuff. So,
Yeah, it's great.
so we just pulled randomly from the mystery box today, haven't we?
We have indeed, yeah.
So what did you pull out?
So what I pulled out first was putty.
Oh yeah.
I just saw this box of what looked like, I don't know, military rations. And I went,
Yeah.
should we have this? And Claire went, Sam, that's glue.
It's like glue that my dad lent me that just got put in the box when I picked it up from their house.
So after I put that down,
Yeah.
I picked up some milk chocolate gonks.
Very festive.
Very festive. We just had the old Christmas period.
We have.
And these look kind of nice.
Yeah, they do.
So,
What's your thoughts on a gonk?
well, you know what? Not a fan of a gonk.
Really?
I'll
Why?
tell you for why. It's because my mum used to make gonks.
Oh, really?
And she'd just make them for Littlin all the time. For every, here, have an Easter gonk, have a Christmas gonk, have a Thursday gonk. So my
Yeah.
house was just full of gonks that I had nowhere to put. So now I ate them.
See, I like the gonks.
So, yeah,
we don't have enough gonks in our house.
Let me find out my gonks, mate. I think
Yeah,
they
yeah.
all went in the bin, but if I find any gonks,
That's a shame.
don't get me wrong, top fucking quality gonks.
Well,
She used to sell them for like a good price.
wow.
But so
There's
many
any of the spare ones?
fucking gonks, man.
Send them our way.
So, but this one looks good because this one, my friend, is a milk chocolate gonk filled with a creamy chocolate filling and crisped rice.
Delicious.
Dairy fine.
Well, I've ripped my gonks hat off, so I'm going to start with that.
Oh,
I'm already into it.
I'm going for the whole lot, mate. So,
It's very creamy in the middle.
oh yeah, that is creamy-licious. Oh yeah.
Interesting, it's rice in the middle.
Mm.
I would have
It's
thought
like
it'd
a
been...
Rice Krispie snack, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, it's very sickly though.
I could eat a whole one though.
I'm struggling after one bite. After just the hat.
Oh yeah.
Claire, you might have to finish it off. Which
Yeah. So these are from Aldi, and they are part of the Rainforest Alliance.
Nice.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So it's supporting a good cause. You look confused. You've not lost a tooth, have you?
Normally, that's what happens.
You look confused and worried.
It kind of felt like popping candy in my mouth for a minute.
Yeah.
Them little
It's
Rice
the
Krispie bits
The
were,
little rice pops, yeah.
Hold on, I'm counting. 1, 2, 3. All right, we're fine. I've got all my teeth still.
Oh, lovely.
Ah, well, thank you, Jess. Ryan talks. I put way too much chocolate in my mouth.
It's going to take us a while to get through our backlog of snacks,
I know.
which is, again, not a problem
No,
at all.
Well,
But please don't be offended if we've not got to your snack just yet.
Yeah, we'll get
because
there.
We will get there.
Yeah.
And we do appreciate you. Thanks for sending us all the
so
snacks.
much. And they're all looking amazing.
Oh, yeah, I know, which is nice because we did go through a big period this year where we were just getting weird and sometimes awful snacks. The apple milk is still the worst for me, I think.
Did your sister get us that as well?
Yeah.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
I feel like this is like
She's really up to game, hasn't she?
Feels bad, so she's made us a mystery box.
She's the best.
Yeah.
You're forgiven, Jess.
Absolutely.
Finally.
Absolutely.
Just a little sip of whiskey after that, I think.
Yeah. A little bourbon. Do you know what the difference between a bourbon and a whiskey is?
Yeah, actually, I do.
Go on.
A bourbon is also a biscuit. A whiskey is not.
That's correct. Well done.
A bourbon is made, we think we said Kentucky,
Yeah,
and it has to be made with a certain grain in a certain barrel, is it?
I think so. Certain oak, like in wood oak barrels or something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
But we're on the Woodford Reserve.
We are.
Was that a
Which is
Christmas present, or was that something you treat your sent to?
just treated myself too. I do like a Woodford, as you well know.
I do, mate. You know what? It's been a while since I've sat here and supped whiskey, because normally I just get a cheap bottle of something and mix it with Coke.
Yeah.
I'm on it to get wankered.
Yeah.
A couple of nice bottles of rum for Christmas.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, yeah. So I'll bring some round, mate.
Yeah, nice.
I can't remember. Is it Appleyard? Is that the rum make? I can't remember.
Might be.
Josh bought me it, but that was nice. He bought a couple of other little random ones,
nice.
and then just a staple Kraken.
Yeah.
So we said, let's have a couple Kraken on Christmas. We'd already had a skinful of beer and a few Baileys.
Yeah.
And then we drank nearly a full bottle of Kraken. And then at 3 a.m, when we couldn't see Die Hard anymore, we went to bed.
Incredible.
Die Hard just disappeared from our eyes because I couldn't see
Yeah.
the screen, and that was that.
Fantastic.
Right, should we talk about the films that we've seen this year? Then
Let's
should we talk
do
about
it.
how many we've done?
It's been a mission this year because I felt like I was really on it because last year, obviously we started the podcast last year and we started the podcast towards the end of the year, didn't we? So I was already well into my my year-long mission and I didn't make my total last year.
No, you didn't. You was like 2 hours.
I got to 50. So I was on it this year and I do think it's helped because we've been doing the podcast all year. So it's, really given us purpose. I know we don't just talk about film, but film is a big part of that. And yeah, I desperately wanted to do it because I think I failed for the last couple of years. So I was like, I've got to finally get to my 52.
So we made a big deal out of it this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I've smashed it. 74 films I've done this year.
Legend. I got 71.
Oh, nice. Nice. Very close. Very similar.
Very similar.
Which, that's a lot of films that we've watched. All films I've never seen. When I'm flicking through, it's nice to look through at my list, and I can see where I've gone through like phases.
Yeah.
So like the start of the year, it's like a timeline. Like so, the start of the year was very much like Oscar season.
Yeah.
So Everything Everywhere All at Once, Banshees of Inisherin,
mine
Avatar:
too.
The Way of Water. So it was all that. Then I went on a massive Nicolas Cage binge.
Oh yeah.
And I've
yeah,
got
I remember that.
loads of those, like Willy's Wonderland, Mandy, Gone in 60 Seconds, Ghost Rider, 8mm, and the list goes on. And then, I went on my big Japanese binge, there like in the middle of the year. I've got Rashomon, Yojimbo, Sanjuro, Throne of Blood, Harikiri, all back to back. Then obviously it veers off to the weird and wonderful everywhere. Oppenheimer, Barbie, again, some of the big ones, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. And towards the end of the year as well, I had another big run on the Japanese ones, Hidden Fortress, Stray Dog, Drunken Angel, which I talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But in amongst all of those like little runs that I did, all those little themes, littered throughout the entirety of the year horror films.
Yeah.
Like everywhere. Like it's like I clearly just they're almost like my default this year.
Yeah.
It's like I go on a little run. I've watched some I'll just watch like 5 Japanese films back to back. What shall I watch now? I'll watch a couple of horror films. I've just watched been to the cinema to watch a couple of films. What should I go see now? Some horror films. And I've got such a variety of horror as well. Like we've been quite on it this year. I went to the cinema to see quite a few brand new horror films that have come out. So looking at films that I went to see at the cinema, I went to see the new Scream film. We went to see Megan at the start of the year. But I also I've watched a lot of classics this year, which has been nice in terms of the horror world. I finally saw The Ring, the Japanese Ring, which I've wanted to watch for years and years. The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre I've seen. That was a big tick for my list. And then some of the modern classics, like that you told me what to watch, like The Babadook or like Child's Play,
of course,
Army of Darkness. These are all like absolute iconic horror films. So it's been nice to tick some of them off, as well as like absolute garbage.
Oh, there's
films.
been some garbage. I just quickly, whilst you was talking, then added up. So out of the 71 I watched, 40 of them were horror.
Wow.
40.
Bloody hell, that's insane. Yeah, see, I've tried to do like a little 2023 wrapped thing. So you know how you get on Spotify. So
I didn't know you was doing that. I would have done it myself.
Yeah, I just added quick, like it was just literally last night I quickly jotted down. So I was just curious. So out of my horror was the biggest genre I watched this year, and out of my 74, 5, 10, 15, 22 were horror. So a good chunk were horror. And again, that's a massive variety of horror. Some are like, out and out horror, like, The Ring, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But then you've got your extreme gore ones, like we've got the 2 Terrifier films on there.
Yeah.
But also like some bit more like action horror. Like I've got Fright Night on there. I've got Renfield.
Yeah.
Even like Haunted Mansion I've put as horror because it was that's like a kid, but it's like a kid's horror.
Yeah. Like I classed The Blackening as horror because it was horror comedy.
Yeah, exactly. Some really cool ones, some variety. The Black Phone I watched this year, which was cool.
That was good. Ethan Hawke again.
Big Ethan Hawke fan. So yeah, my biggest, like if I'm sticking with my genres then, so yeah, 22 horror films, 11 Japanese films I've watched this year. So 11 Japanese films,
including -1,
including Godzilla -1. Yeah, like I said on a few episodes ago, most of those were your classic Japanese 50s and 60s cinema. Akira Kurosawa, the director. So I've watched 7 of those 11 were his films. So like old school 40s, 50s, and 60s. I think the oldest film I've watched this year was one of his, which was Drunken Angel, which is the one I talked about before about the doctor and the Yakuza boss and how their relationship forms. 1948, that film came out. So that's the oldest film I've watched this year. But yeah, seven Akira Kurosawa films this year. So it's been a big, in terms of director, he's the director I've easily watched the most.
Yeah.
It's like the year of Akira Kurosawa for me in a lot of ways. If it was on my Wrapped, it'd be coming up as he's my top director.
Yeah.
And then linked to that, obviously, in terms of top actors, Toshiro Mifune and Takeshi Shimura are in all of those films. So I've watched 7 of their films as well because, like I said before, he uses a lot of the same actors. There's probably a lot of other actors that are in there in minor roles, but they're generally his 2 stars, especially Toshiro Mifune, who was like the big icon of the era. So I've loved that this year. I've really enjoyed going on that journey. I want to continue that into next year because I think Akira Kurosawa, like I said before, he's considered one of the greatest film directors of all time, and Toshiro Mifune considered one of the greatest actors of all time. And I think they did about 16 films together. And Akira Kurosawa's done like 33 films in total. I would love to say that I've watched all of his films.
Oh, yeah, that'd be banging.
So
yeah.
I've watched 7 new ones this year. I think I have seen some of his before, like Seven Samurai and stuff. So I'm going to try and carry that on this year and work my way through some of that. But I've really enjoyed that. I have watched some of the more modern ones, like Japanese ones, like the Godzilla Minus One, The Ring.
Yeah.
I think I've got a Studio Ghibli film in there as well, actually.
yeah.
I think I've not seen this before. Kiki's Delivery Service.
Oh, I've never seen that.
No, we're not seeing it. We watched it when we went camping, and we just watched it on the laptop, so that was quite nice, because I do love the Studio Ghibli stuff, which I always forget, is anime, classic Japanese.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been nice. What's been interesting, if you look at the genre as well, like superhero, well down. I watched 5 superhero films this year, and that includes some old ones like Ghost Rider. So only 5. So in terms of the Marvel ones this year, I think Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Spider-Man, Across the Spider-Verse, Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Ah, shit. Have I got that on here? Ryan, I did 72 films.
Nice. Yeah, so yeah, a variety. So not many superhero films. Like I said, this year I would say it's been, if I was to sum up my year, film, horror, and Japanese.
How random.
Yeah. But it's been great. Like, I've absolutely loved the horror stuff this year, because I've always been a horror fan, but unlike you, horror's never been like my go-to. I needed to really be in the mood to watch horror, and I sort of have to psych myself up. Whereas this year, I've been much more like yourself and just thought, I really fancy a horror film.
Yeah.
And then I'd watch one, I'm like, I want to watch another one.
Yeah.
And I've had that sort of real drive and real buzz. I've really loved that. And I think that's something, again, I'll probably take on into next year, and because I know it's something that we can bond over a lot as well.
Definitely,
so
and as you've seen, there's not many I've not seen at this stage.
Oh, you're struggling. I might imagine you're absolutely scraping the barrel and watching things like Scrotum and Sloth, whatever it's called.
Oh, God, yeah. I watched one called Antrim, the deadliest film ever made, which had like 2 stars on Amazon Prime.
Oh, no.
It was like a handheld cult type bullshit film, yeah. I've seen some crap this year, mate.
Yeah, see, I've not watched anything that I would consider... I've watched some bad films, but nothing like that where it's pure... Not even B movie, like CD movie.
You watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey with me. I've not seen the end.
I've not seen the end, so I've not wrote it down.
Yeah.
So otherwise, that would have been on the list. Yeah.
Oh no, I've seen some dog shit. For me, there's no real bar 40 of the 72 films were horror. There's no real trend throughout mine. So obviously, like yourself, beginning of the year, Banshees, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, Elvis, all the sort of big
the big Oscar ones. Yeah, I think All Quiet on the Western Front was another one that I had. Like all the big.
Oh yeah, All Quiet on the Western Front was there. But I've had a couple here that I was forced to watch because of Littleland. So she was massive into Gremlins at one stage, even though they gave them fucking nightmares.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen Gremlins 2, so I got to watch that for the first time. I watched Tangled for the first time. What a delightful film that was.
That's incredible.
The Magical Elephant, Super Mario Bros. Film. So I watched a few sort of more kiddie films, which was pretty nice. Obviously, Spider-Man's in there, but I watched that for me. So, I mean, there are some classics in here. Elvis, Top Gun.
They're like proper modern classics.
Last
fantastic films.
Yeah, all last year fucking big hitters.
Yeah,
I got to see, horror-wise, the new Candyman kind of stood out a little bit for me. Some that I was really looking forward to, so Evil Dead Rises, which was great. Cobweb.
I really enjoyed Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, Cobweb, which I could not wait for. Absolute dog shit.
Yeah.
Exorcist, Believer, dog shit. Talk to Me was fantastic.
That was, yeah.
I See You was really good. I watched one called Lucky Bastards. Did I tell you about that?
I don't think so.
It's basically about a porn company.
Right.
Was doing if you win this competition, you can get filmed shagging a porn star.
Okay.
And then the guy who's supposed to be shagging her couldn't get it up and then goes on a killing spree. They're the sort of films they're the sort of films I was watching, mate. So going through mine, really a lot that we've already spoke about on the film, on the podcast, but there's no real sort of
like trend or
trend
anything. Yeah,
bar just horror. Like when
Yeah.
you go through it.
I've got another big theme that I've missed out. That if I'm summarizing my year, I've said it's obviously horror and Japanese, but there's one massive theme that I've missed. Because my biggest actor that takes the cake this year, Mr. Nicolas Cage.
Of course, we went through that.
I went on a massive
binge,
Nicolas Cage binge, and I've watched 10 new Nicolas Cage films this year. 10 of his films that I'd never seen before, as well as I've rewatched loads of his classics I had seen. I think we watched Con Air a couple of times at least this year, The Rock, all those. But I went on, like you could just look at it here. Like near the start of the year, I watched Willy's Wonderland, Mandy, Vengeance, a Love Story,
God.
Gone in 60 Seconds, Ghost Rider, Leaving Las Vegas, 8mm, City of Angels, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, all back to back pretty much.
8mm
Yeah.
is one of my, that and Mandy are probably my two favourite Nick Cage films.
Wow. Yeah, Mandy was sensational.
Yeah.
Probably the best one. I'm trying to see, because I've seen some of the others that are scattered about, like Renfield's, not that I've seen throughout the year as well. But in terms of that big group, it was really nice to watch Leaving Las Vegas, because that's the one he won the Oscar for, the best actor. So that was really
film,
that was really good to see. But again, not one that I would class that as an Oscar film in a lot of ways. Like it's one of those like the performances are great. Glad I've seen it. Not in a rush to watch it again.
Yeah.
Whereas Mandy, sensational.
Yeah.
And maybe my secret favorite, Willy's Wonderland.
Oh, it's banging.
So good. Like,
So
just
good.
so enjoyable. And I could probably rewatch that time and time again.
Yeah. We've definitely spoke about this on the podcast, but I generally can't remember the conversation. How did you feel about 8mm? Because it's probably not really like what the film's context is, probably isn't your wheelhouse, and probably something that I would see you being uncomfortable watching a film like that.
No, not at all. Like I did enjoy it. I think what my issue with 8mm is, I really loved the start of it and like maybe the first 3/4 of the film, because it's all about like this seedy underbelly, and he's like investigating like snuff films, isn't it?
Yeah.
And like extreme porn and stuff. So it's all like this underground porn world, because he's like a private investigator, isn't he? I think
our boy Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, like in one of his early roles. And that was really good, because it was almost giving me like Seven vibes.
Yeah.
It just got the ending for me was a bit shit, because then it turned into like it fell into almost like a little bit of Con Air / The Rock, so like cheesy 90s action finale, when I think it would have been better if it just kept it that same tone. So I really enjoyed it. I feel like that, like for me, just for me personally, the ending or the last like quarter of the film is what probably just dipped in quality. I think if it stuck at that sort of that level, that theme, that level of darkness throughout, it would have been one of his best.
Yeah. I've definitely found a theme reading through my thing.
Go on.
My theme is it's loads of horror, and then you see the point where it's like, shit, I can't just have horror on this list, and then I go and watch a normal film.
Right, okay.
So it's like Last Night in Soho, Candyman, 21, Possum, Nocebo, and then Killing of a Sacred Deer. And then I watched like Spider-Man afterwards, then The Blackening, Deep House, Pet, Terrifier, then Accused. Did you watch Accused? I think it was on Netflix.
No, I don't think I did.
It's about a guy who gets accused of, I think it's a terrorist attack. He's literally just at home,
right,
just chilling, and he's like on bloody Facebook or whatever, and a terrorist attack happens, and he's like a British-born Muslim or something, and he's just sort of sat at home looking on, and it's all going mad that all this shit, this bombing's happened, and then he falls asleep. But as it's happening, there's like pictures put out of like this suspect, and then people start accusing it of being him, and then bit by bit it's, we need to find this guy and we need to kill him. So 90% of the film is just set around him not knowing what to do. He can't leave the house. He's ringing the police. They're like, well, can't really do anything. Don't go anywhere. Then it gets a bit mad at the end because people start trying to break into his house to kill him, thinking he's he's a terrorist. And it is quite a good film, like
that sounds, who's in it? Who did you say is in it?
no one really that I recognise, to
Right.
be fair. So no one like real massive, and it wasn't like huge when it came out. It's just one of those films that was like, it's a bit of a thinker.
Yeah.
You know,
okay.
like the power of social media and all that sort of thing these days. Like,
Yeah.
it was genuinely quite good. Have you got any like standout films that we've not discussed? Because we tend to talk a lot about the
We
films
have,
that
we
we've
have,
seen.
and we've talked about a lot. So like, some of the ones that like obviously for me the standout ones like the Akira Kurosawa stuff is all classic stuff, and I've loved all of that. But I've talked about that already. Some of the big ones that I've watched this year that don't think I've spoke about at all, but are absolute classic films. Training Day.
Wow. Yeah,
I watched that for the first time this year. Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke. What a film!
Yeah.
You know,
Ethan Hawke again.
Ethan Hawke again.
He's been here a bit, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's dipped in and out. Like I think I've not watched loads of his. I think Training Day, The Black Phone, and Leave the World Behind are the only ones I've watched of his this year. But Training Day is the one that he got nominated for the Oscar for Best Actor for. Denzel won the Oscar, I think, for Best Actor, or Ethan was Best Supporting Actor. But for those that don't know about Training Day, it follows like a day in Denzel Washington's this experienced detective, and Ethan Hawke's going out for a ride along as the new detective on the joining the team. It's like an audition or like a job interview to see if he's good enough to get into the team. And Denzel's character is like off the chain, isn't he? He's this absolute maverick, this rogue who's like breaking all the rules, and he's sort of like, oh, well, you've got to be this way if you want to make it on the streets, and pushing him really hard. It's all about those moral decisions, those moral dilemmas. Denzel's incredible in it. He's absolutely incredible. Like, his character is unhinged, but Ethan Hawke is equally brilliant, as he's the one that we're like him, like this, like the normal people, like going, oh my God,
You
like,
can't do that.
You can't do that. What the fuck do I do in this situation? Like, and just being like, so there's a lot of like subtlety and nuances in a lot of their performances. And what a film. Like, I think I watched it on my own. I was like, that was brilliant. And then like the following week, I made Claire watch it, and we watched it again.
Oh,
and,
wow.
like, it's one of them now. I could watch that again.
Yeah.
I don't think we spoke about that at all.
We didn't. No.
But yeah, what a great film that was. I'm just trying to have a flick through now, because I've with 74 films, it is a lot. Yeah, like one of the big ones is for me a real standout one was a Japanese one called Harakiri, and that's not directed by Akira Kurosawa, and it's not got any of those actors that I mentioned before, and that story, in some ways, that might be the best film I watched this year.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So obviously Harakiri, the act of Harakiri is the ritual suicide. You know, the samurais way they
in the belly, twist, go,
pull, and then get beheaded.
Yeah.
So that's what Harakiri is.
Yeah.
So this film, I'll forget if I can. So 1962. So also known as seppuku, which is same as Harakiri.
Mm-hmm.
So the it's quite a long film, 2 hours 15. So the premise of this one is when a Ronin requesting seppuku at a feudal lord's palace is told of the brutal suicide of another Ronin who previously visited, he reveals how their pasts are intertwined, and in doing so challenges the clan's integrity. So basically, a Ronin. Ronin is a samurai who has no master. Turns up at this palace because he wants to commit seppuku, because he wants to die honorably, but he has to do it like properly. Like the ritual has to be followed.
Yeah.
He can't just do it himself in the streets like a dog. You know, it's all about honor and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it says there, he's like this old, like sort of grizzled samurai, like Ronin samurai, and then it flashes back to this other samurai that did seppuku, and it's like this mystery, and it involves, and like the storyline intertwines, and the more you get through the story, the more you get through the current story with the current Ronin, he reveals that he actually knows more and more. He's like, well, actually, what you're saying there isn't true because I know this person did this and this. And it reveals more of the mystery. And it's sensational. Like,
wow.
I'm not going to give anything away because I don't want to ruin the twists. But wow. Like, honestly, the twists in that film are incredible. It's storytelling at its finest. It's... What's insane as well is the fight scenes in that. I've read the trivia before. They use real swords, so the lead actor was fucking terrified that he was just going to get his head chopped off.
Jesus,
like it's so Masaki Kobayashi is the director. Don't know much about him other than I know he is a really renowned director as well in that field. So 1962 that film came out on IMDb. 8.6.
Jesus.
It currently sits at the 45th greatest film of all time.
Wow. Okay.
And for good reason. I would urge you to watch it, honestly. Like the storytelling, it just stuck with me. That was one. And I know we've not spoken about that, but I would probably say that's the best film I've watched this year, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd probably say that's the top spot because, like I said, what a film even now holds up really well because there's not loads of action in it, but you know the action's real because they're using fucking real swords, for God's sake.
Oh, yeah.
It's just crazy. But that, in terms of the best, that was the standout. In terms of worst,
I've got too many to go on worst.
What was your best? Go on then. What was your best this year? We'll both do best, then we'll both do worst.
Obviously, up until today, we probably would have been looking at Banshees.
Of course, yeah.
Looking at that, probably Barbie would have been up there because I absolutely fucking love that. But today, I decided to watch film before I come here.
Yep.
Which I mentioned a bit earlier on. I watched a film called Babylon, which came out, I think it was the end of last year. So it's a Damien Chazelle film, and I love Damien Chazelle anyway. I think he's a fantastic director. Sorry, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie, every single person in this film you recognise.
Wow.
Every single person. I clicked on the cast list to have a look because every time I was like, fuck what's in, stuff like that. Because it's just everyone. And when I click on the cast list, it was 462 people.
Wow.
462 people.
That's crazy.
So the story of Babylon is, right, what I'm going to say was, so I'm not going to lie, I heard this film was a bit raunchy.
Yeah, okay.
And it had Margot Robbie in it. So that's what piqued my interest.
Yeah.
Because I am in love with Margot Robbie. She's a lovely young lady. So I was very interested in what goes on in this film. Then I went, right, okay, so it's on Sky, 3 hours, 10 minutes or something, 3 hours, 14 minutes or something like that. I was like, what the fuck? I can't hold my attention for this long. It's not going to happen. So, right, I'll just bang it on, see what happens. The first 20 minutes of this film was some of the best 20 minutes I've ever seen.
Wow.
It's just a party that's going on. Big Hollywood party, no holds barred, just debauchery.
Yeah.
It's horrendous. There's just people being shagged everywhere, naked women. There's an elephant that runs through the room at one point. They open this box and it's like a midget on a fucking, what you call that, pogo stick that's shaped like a cock. And it's just shooting jizz into the crowd. Like real, just like, what the fuck's going on here? And it's kind of following this like bartender type person who's trying to keep everything normal. An actress dies upstairs, and like the main bartender / person involved is Flea, which is amazing. And he's so good in this film. And so you're sort of slowly being introduced to these characters. Margot Robbie comes in, she like tries to fake away into this party, manages to get in, and just goes absolutely nuts. The story from there on out is she kind of gets a chance to be in a film.
Yep.
This bartender who just wants to be on a movie set ends up being pulled along with Brad Pitt's character, who's a director, and he's like, I can use you for something. Just come with me. And it's kind of following those two's rise to fame. So she becomes a really famous actress. He becomes like the right-hand man on a film set because he can just get anything done. But whilst you're watching it, it's also about the change of Hollywood. So the beginning is set in 1929.
Yeah.
So it's all silent film.
Yeah. Okay.
So as it's going on, the talkies are now out.
Yeah.
So it's showing how a lot of these actors and actresses have no idea how to act anymore because they have to talk.
Their whole craft has changed.
Yeah, and they don't know how to film a film because everyone's got to be completely silent. If someone sneezes, the film's fucked. And the there's this scene where they're trying to get this one scene with Margot Robbie, and the pressure and the tension trying to watch this scene whilst because no one can make a single noise. Like you can't wear a watch because the tick will be picked up on. Honestly, so much goes in this film for 3 hours 10 minutes. And I think I said to you when you got here, if this film was a 12-hour film, I'd still be at home watching it.
Yeah,
now.
that's cool.
It was insane. There's some mad scenes.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire's randomly in it as a drug kingpin who just looks absolutely fucked, and he takes them to this like underground party where there's an alligator and a big massive muscly man eating rats. Like it's just
awesome,
off its nut. But like the background stories of Margot Robbie's character, who is just like she's an alcoholic, she's a gambler, so her image is getting completely twisted. So they're trying to bring her image back to make her more accessible to the real world.
Yeah.
Honestly, mate, I can't describe everything that goes on in this film because so much happens.
Yeah, well,
it is unreal.
I really want to watch it. Even from the trailer, I saw the trailer. I was like, you could tell there was a hell of a lot happening. So many moving parts in that film, and it looked entertaining as anything. It's one of them that we just missed in the cinema.
I was the same,
and it just passed us by. So it's definitely one I want to watch. And now that you're like singing its praises that massively, I'll try and check it out sooner rather than later.
Yeah, and I think anyone that does come across this film that goes, I kind of want to watch that, but fuck 3.25 hours.
Yeah,
it is worth every single second.
Wow.
I think a lot of films you can look at like that and go, you can remove this part, you can remove that part. I'm sure many people watch this film and go, you could get rid of that.
Yeah,
no,
but
give me more.
You want more.
I want more.
Yeah.
I absolutely adored it. And what Damien Chazelle does amazingly as well. I mean, this guy, his direction and everything is fantastic. But right at the very end, one of the guys is in a cinema watching like Singing in the Rain, and then it goes away from the film and he just does this montage of the history of film.
Wow.
From early films up until like it's showing Top Gun, it's showing Avatar. It's like just this random montage of how much the movie industry has moved on.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That sounds so cool.
I got goosebumps so many times watching this film.
I mean,
I laughed, I cried, I did every emotion.
Yeah. As film lovers that we are, that sounds incredible.
You would adore this film.
Yeah.
For what it is.
I'll definitely watch it.
So that by far, but I mean, bloody, we have some epics.
We've had some great films this year.
Was my number one.
There's some huge films like Everything Everywhere at Once, Banshees were all massive.
Elvis, Top Gun,
Elvis, Top Gun,
Western Front,
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Yeah.
How good was that?
Massive.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Oppenheimer. Obviously, these are all huge films. It's been a great year for cinema.
It really
has. And just a great year for me watching film. I've absolutely loved this year. I've watched so many good ones. Looking at my 2023 Wrapped, 14 new films I saw at the cinema.
Cool.
Not a bit disappointed. Wanted to see more.
It's just 2 or 3,
But I did go to the cinema as well, and we saw some of the classics as well. Managed to see Aliens this year in the cinema, one of my favorite films of all time.
Mate.
So that was really cool. So it's been a mixed bag. Go on then. What's getting your worst spot?
Worst spot for me. I mean, like I say, a lot of this will mean nothing to you guys, but like that Antrim, the deadliest film ever made, would be up there. Obviously, Scrotum. God, I've watched so many films like that. That was just absolute,
just trash.
Yeah. No, I'm not even gonna say it's the worst film. That was just the most sick film I've ever seen. I'm giving it to Slaughterhouse.
Slaughterhouse?
I'm giving it to Slaughterhouse. This was recommended to me by our friend Max.
Right,
Max just went, have you ever heard of a film called Slaughterhouse? I went, no. He said, it's about a killer sloth called Alpha. 2 minutes later, it was on.
Wow.
It was the worst film I've ever seen in my entire life.
Wow.
That's going there. What about you?
I think for me, having a quick flick through, I think it's between two. Velvet Buzzsaw. I hated that film.
Oh, I loved that film.
I thought it was awful.
It was off its tits.
Off its tits. For those that don't know what Velvet Buzzsaw is, it's I can't remember if we spoke about it or not, but it's got a great cast. It's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's an art dealer, and it's all about these pretentious art, like art dealers and critics and artists. And it's in like this world, I don't know, like New York or whatever. But then the art comes to life and it starts like fucking with them and killing people and stuff.
I loved it.
And the problem with it was, it was long for what is a horror film, 2 hours. It was just, I hated every single character in it. I absolutely hated them all.
Are you trying to say that last scene where he's just dancing on the beach? What's his name? John Malkovich.
John Malkovich, yeah.
In his pants or something, just dancing on the beach for like 5 minutes.
And with such an insane cast, Jake Gyllenhaal, Rene Russo, Toni Collette, Natalie Dyer, John Malkovich. They're all major characters. And I had a lot of hope because what I wanted this film to be was fun because it's stupid. Yeah. It's a stupid concept, like a lot of horror films are. But I really struggled.
That's why I liked it. I found it fun.
I just didn't. I just hate. Wow. I couldn't wait for it to be over. I mean, 5.7. It's got an IMDb. I think the consensus was it's quite a fun concept, but it just did not work for me. So it's between that or Resident Evil: Welcome to Raccoon City, because as you well know, I'm a huge fan of the Resident Evil franchise. Yeah. This is the one where they tried to do a faithful adaptation of the games for once, and they've mashed up Resident Evil 1 and Resident Evil 2 games into one, and they've just butchered it. The characters are totally wrong. The storyline's mixed up. Okay, it's probably the best Resident Evil film I've seen, but they're all shit. So that's it's probably not the worst film, but that one's like a personal one because you know how much I love Resident Evil. So for me, that was just, it's like a kick in the teeth. Like, oh, we're finally going to do a faithful adaptation, and then they just fucking shit all over it. But
you just saying how Velvet Buzzsaw only got 5.7. I was like, well, let's just have a look what Scrotum got.
Oh, God, yeah. I imagine it's got like 3 or 2.
3.4. Yeah. But what I did just find out is there is a Scrotum 2. That came right into 2021.
It can't be that bad.
You know I'm all over that. That'll be the first film on 2024's list.
The thing is, for that, I can forgive films like that because they're proper B, C, D movies.
Yeah.
What I struggle with Velvet Buzzsaw is it's a major studio production with an insane cast. Yeah. It could have been so much better than what it was. But yeah, we both absolutely smashed it this year.
We did.
I know a lot of our listeners have been doing it this year.
Yeah, and I stupidly didn't put it out there asking what other people did, but we have got a couple that we've had from friends.
We have.
So Megan and Alex, they've just sent me theirs. She sent me a screen recording of her notes, and she's like giving like them stars.
Amazing.
Which is insane. So they did 55 this year.
Nice. Well done. Well done.
They even did a top 5 and a bottom 5. So the top 5 was I See You, which was recommended by Megan.
Yep.
The Menu, brilliant film.
Love The Menu.
Oppenheimer, which I didn't watch.
Yeah, great film.
Haunted in Venice, which I've not seen.
I've still not seen that.
And Barbarian, which we passed on to her.
And we love that as well.
Her bottom 5 were Morbius, which I'm starting to think, I think I watched that this year as well. So it might be 73. You People,
when did I watch
Not at
that?
the Cabin, The Outlaws, and Nope. I'm very surprised to see Nope in there. It wasn't great, but I didn't mind it. I'm proper fucking bum Jordan Peele anyway. I think everything he does is fantastic.
I'm trying to think when I watched
I'm sure I watched it this year, but
Morbius. I watched it last year, 2022, and a lot of those films I watched last year. The Menu, I watched Barbarian, They're all ones that sort of touched on yeah.
So, did you say your sister? Did you get one from your sister?
Yes. So my sister, she smashed it this year. She managed to get 60 films this year, 60 new ones. And what was very nice is that she said at least 12 of hers are from recommendations from the podcast.
Oh, that's amazing.
Which is really cool. Ed, our resident history teacher, the podcast resident history teacher, he also smashed it with 56 films this year. So everyone smashed it. Everyone's like easy.
Yeah.
Like for me, it was like a challenge. Like it's, I've struggled to do it for the last 2 years. And then as soon as I say about it, everyone's absolutely smashed it.
Did everyone smash it, did they? Because let's talk about Goss.
I mean,
our boy Goss.
I was going to say Goss to last because we've smashed it.
We've
Goss
smashed it.
is on another plane.
So-
Goss is on another world.
70 odd that we got was pretty unreal. I was
I
like,
mean, unbelievable.
very,
That's-
very happy
yeah.
with that. But again, these are new films. So we have watched a lot more than that because we've rewatched films.
Oh, I've watched, a lot of films this year, yeah.
Now, what scares me about Goss is these are the new films that he's watched. And you know that he's rewatched films.
Oh, yeah.
He watched 156 films, new films this year.
156.
156.
Oh, we've queried this and questioned it. We're like, what the fuck is going on, Goss? How are you doing this? You're an absolute machine. And his answer is...
He's got insomnia.
He's got insomnia and he doesn't sleep. So what else are you going to do but watch new films? So fair enough. But
The poor boy can't sleep, so he's fucked. But 156
absolutely
films.
take the crown, Goss. What an achievement. That is sensational. Something we can all aspire to do.
I don't know, mate.
But I think I love my sleep too much.
I don't sleep a lot, but Jesus Christ.
Oh, no.
That is unreal.
It's very impressive. Yeah, well done, Goss. I think well done, everyone. Everyone's done. That's a lot of films.
That is a lot of films.
And you think if we put all our combined lists together between us,
hundreds.
We've done really well, which is nice. I think it'd be nice to see as well. Obviously, we're about to go into the new year now, starting a fresh list.
Yeah.
That would be really cool. Really exciting. It'd be nice that as well if our listeners do it again this year. Keep us up to date. Give us recommendations because obviously we're always good to talk on here about recommendations. So
yeah.
and
that's a big thing. I think where quite a few people do this, and again, I know people did it that I forgot to ask what they got. But for those of you that have enjoyed this and you've enjoyed the sort of journey that we've gone on, we're about to start this new year. So get on it.
Yeah,
Get yourself a little notebook. It's quite fun to do. I loved it. I love adding a new film to the list.
Me too. I do love it, and you got to be on it. I think because you fall short, like you said, you've done. I know, like other people that I've spoken to have done it, and then just gone on. Oh shit, I forgot to write it down for a couple of months, and then you just forget and fall behind. So you just make sure you're on it. As soon as you watch it, write down your little notebook,
Keep your notebook
or make a note on your phone, whatever.
Yeah. So get on it with us because next year I'd love to be like, right, these we'll talk less because we'll talk about the majority of the films we do throughout the year.
Oh yeah.
So it'd be nice to be like, this was our top 5, this was our bottom 5, but this is what everyone else did.
Yeah.
And sort of chat through everyone else's, which would be really interesting.
Absolutely. But yeah, all in all, it's been an incredible year of film.
Yeah, it's been middling for me. I've seen some great ones and I've seen some dog shit.
Yeah, but it's been nice to be back on the film binge, which is nice to get that, to consume that amount of film because I fucking love films.
It's been lovely. So that's it from us. A bit of a longer one this week because it is a new year. So I'd like to end this episode with a massive Happy New Year to everyone. Thank you for the last year and all the support and everything that you've given us. So please continue that support. Get all this shared. Get us followed on whatever you listen to. Get us followed on Instagram, Facebook. We don't use it a lot, but, get Twitch because we're going to start doing, in the new year, we're going to start doing live shows, which is going to be so much more fun. And, if you guys download Twitch now, you'll have downloaded Twitch before Ryan.
You don't know.
Yeah, I do. I ain't fucking stupid, mate. So, as always, the very end of the year, Ryan, leave us with some words of love.
Yeah, I just wanted to echo what you said, really. Happy New Year, everyone. Thanks for listening to us for this entire year, our first full year into the podcast. Do your challenge this year and set yourself a goal to try and beat your score from this year.
Or try beat Goss.
Try and beat Goss. Can anyone take the crown?
Peace.